He told me I was beautiful, said he wanted a future with me. Then he asked me to be his sugar mommy, while hiding a wife and kid in another country. That was his first mistake. His second, thinking I wouldn't burn his entire life to the ground. If you've ever been betrayed, underestimated, or made to feel like a fool, you're not alone. Hit that like button, subscribe for more stories where justice is served hot, and drop a comment if you've ever wished you could get sweet revenge. Let's get into this one. Let me start with this. I'm not someone who gets played easily. I'm a woman in my 30s, steady job, smart, grounded. I've spent most of the past decade focused on building my career and working on myself. But recently, I dipped my toes back into the dating world. And let's be real, it's a jungle out there. Still, I've always done okay. I'm that, if she lost 30 pounds, she'd be a 10 type. Not perfect, but I've got a beautiful face, a good laugh, and I'm fun to be around. I've never had a hard time getting a date. I live in a large, multicultural city, and I've always been open to dating people from different backgrounds. In fact, my last serious relationship was with an immigrant. So when I met this charming guy from Latin America, I didn't think twice. He was everything on paper. Mid-30s, just a couple years younger than me. Charming accent, warm eyes, sharp mind. We had the kind of easy chemistry that makes you feel like the universe might finally be playing fair. He told me he was on a tourist visa, hoping to stay longer if possible. I told him flat out, I'm not your immigration lifeline. But if you're here for a good time this summer, maybe we see where this goes. Nothing serious. Unless, of course, life surprises us. 4 dates in, and I was already in that dangerous space between butterflies and vulnerability. The dates were amazing. Long conversations, hot chemistry, the whole package. He'd playfully call me Hermosa, always touched me like he actually cared, and for a moment I thought, maybe. Then came the moment everything shifted. We were texting about my work, corporate job, decent income, nothing extravagant, and out of nowhere he says, you should be my sugar mommy, face blowing a kiss. First I laughed. Thought it was a joke. But he wasn't joking. He kept pushing it, even doubling down when I called him out. It wasn't playful anymore, it was serious. He wanted me to fund his life, pay his bills, help him stay in the country. That moment, the moment I realized he never really liked me, hit like a punch to the chest. I was humiliated, insulted, furious. I told him exactly how pathetic it was to ask me for money, how ashamed he should be. I told him he was acting like a child, not a man. That's when he got angry. Suddenly, I was the bad guy for not getting the joke. But let me be very clear. I've been lied to before. I've been used before. But this was next level. And he had no idea who he'd just tried to scam. I started with the usual, venting to friends, crying, replaying every moment, wondering what signs I missed. One of my closest friends, she's a genius internet sleuth, immediately went into detective mode. Within an hour, we'd found not 1, not 2, but 6 different Instagram accounts, all using his photos, slight variations on his name, and different bios. The uploads were clumped together, clearly strategic. Smelled like a scam. Facebook told the same story. Multiple accounts, same mo. And then, jackpot. On one of those scammy profiles, he had tagged the local business where he was working, illegally, under a tourist visa. He was dumb enough to connect his real face with an illegal job in the same city he was trying to hustle women in. I called another close friend of mine. She works with law enforcement and immigration. I gave her his name, birthday, everything we'd found. What she discovered next made my blood run cold that he had a wife and a daughter back in his home country. The sweet, emotionally available man I thought I was getting to know was actually a married father, sleeping with women for money while trying to worm his way into permanent residency. At that point, I didn't cry anymore. I strategized. My sleuth friend went nuclear. She created group chats on every platform she could find, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and began adding his entire network. Family, friends, acquaintances. Then she dropped the screenshots. Him asking for money, him flirting with me, everything. No commentary, no spin. just receipts and a brutally honest message. You should all be ashamed. This is how he treats women. This is who you support. As people blocked her, she added more. We found his sister's phone number. Messages were sent. His cousins, his in-laws, his wife. 30 minutes after the digital firestorm started, he texted me. You should be smart enough to know I was joking. I don't need to sell myself. I didn't respond. Why would I? I wasn't done. We filled out the online immigration fraud report. Screenshots, illegal employment info, employer details, even his roommates' names. My law enforcement friend submitted it through an internal channel with the file number. 2 days later, officers showed up at his apartment. They found him using a phone number tied to a local resident, clearly part of his illegal work setup. His roommates, same story. All using numbers registered to the same person, the employer. He received a formal caution for attempted fraud, a no-contact order directed at me, and a permanent flag on his immigration record. Because of his country of origin and the nature of the offenses, that flag will almost certainly result in a multi-year ban, if not permanent. He's not being deported yet, only because it costs money and his visa is expiring soon anyway. But if he even breathes in my direction again, deportation, full stop. And it gets better. His employer got a visit next. Turns out they'd been employing multiple people illegally. The investigation is ongoing, but early findings suggest they'll be hit with tens of thousands in fines, maybe even criminal charges. This isn't some slap on the wrist. This is life-altering. I may not have gotten an apology, but I got justice. He has to go back to a furious wife, humiliated in front of his entire community, unable to ever come back to the country he tried to scam his way into. As for me, feel free. He wanted me to be a stepping stone, a sugar mommy. Fool. Instead, I turned into his worst nightmare, a woman with a voice, with receipts, and with connections. He thought I'd be ashamed, that I'd let it go. Instead, he'll spend years, living with the consequences of underestimating me. His wife knows. His family knows. His employer's under federal investigation. And every single one of those fake online profiles. Reported, flagged, nuked. He got exposed from every angle. Emotional, legal, digital, personal. I didn't just ruin his summer. I ended his game. There's a kind of peace that comes when you reclaim your power. Not by sinking to their level, but by rising above it, with evidence, intention, and fire. Some people learn the hard way. You don't mess with a woman who has nothing to lose and receipts in hand. If you made it this far, you know that revenge can be deeply satisfying, especially when it's earned. So hit that like button, subscribe for more stories of justice served, and comment below. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? Let's share some righteous chaos together.